Beneath the roaring cheers of packed stadiums and the hum of anticipation in cities across the globe, the Paralympic Games stood as a crucible of human resilience. Here, athletes transformed adversity into strength, their stories weaving a tapestry of courage and determination. Among them was Malik Thompson, a sprinter whose unwavering resolve and electrifying speed had earned him a place among the sport's elite. Born and raised in a small, vibrant community, Malik carried with him not just the dreams of his family but the hopes of countless others who saw in him a reflection of their own struggles and aspirations. Malik's path to greatness was anything but smooth. A childhood accident had altered the course of his life, yet it ignited in him a fierce determination to defy limitations. His rise through the ranks was a testament to tireless effort, but it was also a journey shadowed by systemic challenges. As the Paralympic Games approached, Malik's focus was unshakable until an abrupt decision by officials cast doubt on his eligibility. The accusation, rooted in prejudice, sent shockwaves through the sports world, threatening to derail his career and silence his voice. While others might have crumbled under the weight of such injustice, Malik found strength in his community. Coaches, teammates, and supporters rallied around him, their solidarity a powerful force against the discrimination he faced. As the Games commenced without him, Malik's story became a rallying cry for change, sparking conversations about fairness and the unseen barriers that still lingered in the world of sports. In the face of exclusion, Malik's determination only grew, his training fueled by the belief that his worth was not dictated by others' biases. When an unsanctioned event emerged as an alternative stage, Malik embraced the opportunity. Under the glow of stadium lights and the watchful eyes of a global audience, he stepped onto the track, every stride a defiance of the obstacles placed before him. The race that followed was nothing short of extraordinary, a moment of raw power and grace that shattered records and silenced doubters. Malik's triumph was more than a victory, it was a declaration of his unyielding spirit and a call to action for a more inclusive future. The world of Malik Thompson's story was one of vibrant diversity and stark contrasts, where the Paralympic Games symbolized resilience and unity amidst underlying societal challenges. The Games took place in a sprawling, futuristic city known for its architectural marvels and cutting-edge technology, yet its gleaming facade masked deep-rooted systemic inequalities. The Paralympic Village, a microcosm of global cultures, buzzed with camaraderie, but tensions simmered as athletes from marginalized backgrounds often faced subtle discrimination. Malik grew up in a close-knit community in Atlanta, Georgia, where his family instilled in him the values of hard work and self-belief. A childhood accident left him with a prosthetic leg, but his parents, both educators, encouraged him to pursue his dreams without limitations. His coach, Elena Ruiz, a former Paralympian herself, became a mentor and surrogate family member, pushing him to refine his technique while reminding him of his worth beyond athletics. Malik's initial motivation stemmed from a desire to honor his late brother, who had always cheered him on during local track meets. Over time, his drive evolved into a mission to challenge stereotypes about Black athletes with disabilities. His charisma and determination earned him a loyal following among fans and fellow competitors, many of whom admired his ability to uplift others even while facing his own struggles. When officials unjustly barred him from competing, Malik's closest allies, Elena and his best friend, Jamal, a sports journalist, rallied around him. Jamal used his platform to expose the bias Malik faced, while Elena organized secret training sessions to keep his focus sharp. The setting shifted to makeshift tracks and underground arenas, where Malik's resolve grew stronger, fueled by the unwavering support of his community. The unsanctioned event was held in an abandoned stadium on the city's outskirts, transformed into a vibrant arena by volunteers. The atmosphere was electric, with a crowd of diverse backgrounds united in defiance of injustice. Malik's record-breaking performance not only captivated the audience but also sent shockwaves through the sports world, forcing institutions to confront their biases. Malik's triumph transcended athletics, igniting a global movement for inclusivity in sports. His advocacy for systemic reform, alongside Elena and Jamal, inspired a generation of athletes to demand equity and respect. Malik's journey, rooted in love, resilience, and solidarity, reshaped perceptions of ability and race, leaving an indelible mark on history. Malik Thompson's journey took a dramatic turn when a whistleblower revealed that the officials who barred him from competing had deliberately falsified evidence to justify their decision, exposing a web of corruption and bias within the Paralympic Committee. The revelation sparked global outrage, forcing an independent investigation and leading to the suspension of key figures, as Malik's fight for justice became a rallying cry for systemic reform. Malik Thompson's dream of competing in the Paralympic Games wasn't just about medals, it was about breaking barriers and inspiring others. His goal was clear: to set a new world record in the 100-meter sprint while challenging stereotypes about black athletes with disabilities. Supported by his coach, Elena, a former Paralympian herself, and his best friend, Jordan, Malik pushed his limits daily, driven by a shared belief in his potential. The first obstacle came unexpectedly when Malik faced discriminatory scrutiny from officials questioning his eligibility. The decision, based on unfounded claims, left him sidelined, threatening to derail years of preparation. Despite the setback, Malik refused to give up, leaning on Elena's strategic guidance and Jordan's unwavering encouragement to stay focused. As Malik trained in isolation, his relationships deepened. Elena revealed her own struggles with bias during her career, forging a bond of mutual understanding. Meanwhile, Jordan, a tech-savvy advocate, launched a social media campaign to expose the injustice, rallying global support. Their efforts not only bolstered Malik's resolve but also sparked conversations about equity in sports. Amid the turmoil, Malik discovered an underground event organized by athletes who had faced similar challenges. Though unconventional, it offered him a chance to compete on equal footing. With his team's support, Malik embraced the opportunity, determined to prove his worth. The event became a symbol of resistance, uniting athletes and fans in a shared fight for fairness. Malik Thompson's world shifted unexpectedly during a routine training session when he received an official notice barring him from the Paralympic Games. The accusation of doping, entirely unfounded, struck like a lightning bolt, shattering his focus and threatening his lifelong dream. The decision, cloaked in bureaucratic language, was a thin veil for racial bias, leaving Malik stunned and questioning the very fairness of the institution he had dedicated his life to. The news spread quickly, igniting outrage among his supporters and sparking debates about systemic inequalities in sports. Malik, though devastated, refused to succumb to despair. He doubled down on his training, channeling his anger into a renewed drive to prove his worth. His team rallied behind him, urging him to fight back, not just for himself but for every athlete silenced by prejudice. As the Paralympics commenced without him, an underground movement of athletes and allies emerged, organizing an unsanctioned race to give Malik the opportunity he had been unjustly denied. The stakes were high, but so was the support. Malik, fueled by the injustice he faced, agreed to compete, determined to reclaim his narrative. On race day, the crowd buzzed with anticipation. Malik stood at the starting line, his heart pounding with a mix of nerves and resolve. When the gun fired, he surged forward, each stride a defiance of the barriers placed before him. Crossing the finish line, he shattered the world record, silencing critics and proving that no bias could hold him back. As Malik's story gained global traction, a young journalist named Elena Cruz, known for her investigative tenacity, became captivated by his journey. Determined to uncover the truth behind the biased decision, she delved into the shadowy corridors of sports governance. Her findings revealed a network of systemic discrimination, exposing officials who had long manipulated outcomes under the guise of fairness. Meanwhile, Malik's unsanctioned victory sparked a ripple effect. Athletes from diverse backgrounds began sharing their own stories of exclusion, igniting a grassroots movement for reform. Social media became a battleground, with hashtags demanding accountability trending worldwide. Amid this upheaval, Malik's coach, a retired Paralympian named Victor Okoye, encouraged him to channel his influence into creating opportunities for others. Together, they envisioned a new initiative, a global training program for underrepresented athletes, offering resources and mentorship to those often overlooked. As the program gained momentum, Malik faced a personal challenge, reconnecting with his estranged father, a former athlete whose own dreams had been derailed by prejudice. Their strained relationship added a deeply human layer to his story, as Malik grappled with forgiveness and understanding. In the background, whispers of a reformed Paralympic committee emerged, hinting at the possibility of Malik's reinstatement. Yet, the question loomed, would Malik return to compete within a system he now sought to change, or would he focus entirely on building a new, inclusive legacy? As Malik trained for the unsanctioned event, tension mounted within his team. Some feared the risks of defying official organizations, while others championed the opportunity to challenge an unjust system. Meanwhile, Malik wrestled with the weight of expectations, questioning if his performance could truly dismantle the prejudices he faced. Behind the scenes, Malik's coach, Elena, uncovered evidence suggesting that the official's decision was influenced by a rival athlete's powerful sponsors. This revelation added a new layer of complexity, intertwining personal ambition with systemic corruption. Malik now faced a dilemma: expose the truth or focus solely on his performance. The unsanctioned event gained traction, drawing athletes from diverse backgrounds who had faced similar injustices. Their stories deepened Malik's resolve, but also highlighted the broader stakes. This wasn't just about his race, but a global fight for fairness. The event became a symbol of defiance, amplifying tensions between athletes and governing bodies. As the day approached, Malik's rival, who had benefited from his exclusion, issued a public statement dismissing the unsanctioned event as illegitimate. The insult stung, fueling Malik's determination. Yet, the pressure took its toll, straining his relationships with teammates who worried about the consequences of failure. On the day of the race, the atmosphere was electric. Malik's heart pounded as he stepped onto the track, the weight of countless stories and struggles on his shoulders. As the gun fired, every ounce of doubt and frustration transformed into raw speed, propelling him toward an unforgettable finish. The unsanctioned event became a turning point not only for Malik but for the global sports community. As he prepared to race, the weight of the moment pressed on him, not just as an athlete but as a symbol of defiance against injustice. Fellow competitors, many of whom had faced their own struggles, rallied around him, their solidarity creating an electrifying atmosphere. Malik's focus sharpened, his years of training and sacrifice culminating in this defining moment. As the starting signal echoed, he surged forward, his movements fluid and precise. The crowd erupted as he crossed the finish line, shattering the world record with an undeniable display of brilliance. The victory was transformative for Malik, solidifying his belief in his purpose beyond athletics. It was no longer just about personal achievement, it was about challenging systems that perpetuated inequality. His triumph became a rallying cry, sparking conversations about racial bias and accessibility in sports. The emotional aftermath saw Malik grappling with his newfound role as an advocate. He began to embrace his voice, using it to call for accountability from governing bodies. His transformation from competitor to change-maker marked a significant shift, setting the stage for a broader movement. As Malik stood before a global audience, his message was clear: the fight for fairness extended beyond the track. His journey was far from over, but he had ignited a flame of hope, inspiring others to rise against adversity. The climax approached, with Malik's legacy poised to reshape the future. As Malik prepared for the unsanctioned event, whispers of both support and skepticism rippled through the athletic community. Some athletes rallied behind him, their solidarity forming an unspoken alliance against the injustices he faced. Others, wary of the controversy, distanced themselves, fearing backlash or questioning the legitimacy of the event. Malik, however, focused solely on his training, knowing that every step forward was a step closer to reclaiming his narrative. Behind the scenes, Malik's coach, Elena, worked tirelessly to ensure he was ready. She uncovered new training techniques tailored to his strengths, pushing him beyond his limits. Yet, tensions brewed within his team when Malik's longtime friend and teammate, Jordan, expressed doubts about the unsanctioned event, fearing it might jeopardize their collective reputations. The disagreement left Malik questioning who truly stood by him. As the day of the event approached, Malik received an unexpected message from a former Paralympic champion, Isaiah Cole, who had faced similar struggles in his career. Isaiah's words resonated deeply, reminding Malik of the larger fight at hand. "This isn't just about you," Isaiah had said. "It's about everyone who comes after you." The message reignited Malik's determination, solidifying his resolve to make every moment on that track count. The event itself carried an electric atmosphere, with athletes and supporters from around the globe gathering to witness history in the making. Malik's rivals, once competitors on official stages, now stood beside him as equals, their shared defiance against injustice creating an unspoken bond. The tension was palpable as the race began, each second a testament to Malik's unyielding spirit. Crossing the finish line, Malik felt the weight of years of struggle lift as cheers erupted around him. But the victory was bittersweet. Jordan, watching from the sidelines, seemed torn, his earlier doubts lingering in his expression. Malik knew their friendship had been tested, but he hoped the moment would bridge the divide. For now, though, he focused on the road ahead, knowing his fight for change was far from over. As the unsanctioned event approached, Malik faced mounting pressure. The weight of representing not only himself but countless others who had been marginalized in sports bore heavily on his shoulders. His training sessions grew increasingly grueling, each stride fueled by a mix of hope and defiance. Yet, doubts lingered. What if his performance fell short? What if the world dismissed his efforts as insignificant? On the eve of the race, Malik received a heartfelt message from his childhood coach, reminding him of the boy who once ran barefoot on cracked pavement, unshaken by obstacles. The words reignited his belief in his purpose, grounding him amidst the chaos. Meanwhile, his team worked tirelessly to ensure the event ran smoothly, navigating logistical hurdles and media scrutiny. Their unwavering support became a lifeline, a reminder that he was never alone in this fight. When the day arrived, the atmosphere crackled with tension and anticipation. Malik's competitors, many of whom had faced their own battles, exchanged nods of solidarity. This wasn't just a race, it was a collective stand against injustice. As the starting gun fired, Malik surged forward, his focus razor-sharp. Every step felt like a defiance of the barriers that sought to hold him back. Midway through the race, a sudden downpour turned the track slick, testing Malik's endurance and adaptability. Memories of past struggles flashed through his mind, but instead of faltering, he pushed harder, drawing strength from the crowd's chants. Crossing the finish line, he collapsed, overwhelmed by the enormity of what he had achieved. In the aftermath, Malik's victory became a rallying cry for change. The event's success forced officials to confront their biases, sparking widespread calls for reform. Malik, though exhausted, vowed to continue fighting for a more inclusive future. His journey had transcended sport, becoming a symbol of resilience and unity. As Malik crossed the finish line, the crowd erupted, their cheers a resounding affirmation of his triumph. The unsanctioned event became a symbol of defiance against injustice, a moment where athletes and supporters united to challenge systemic inequities. Malik's world record-breaking performance was more than a victory, it was a declaration that talent and determination could not be silenced by prejudice. In the days that followed, Malik's story ignited a global movement, sparking conversations about racial bias and accessibility in sports. Fellow athletes joined his call for accountability, demanding reforms to ensure fairness and equality. Malik's unwavering courage inspired others to confront discrimination head-on, sparking change across institutions. With his newfound platform, Malik launched initiatives to mentor aspiring athletes, emphasizing the importance of resilience and self-belief. He collaborated with organizations to dismantle barriers, ensuring future generations would compete on a level playing field. His advocacy became a rallying cry for justice, amplifying voices long silenced. Malik's journey was a testament to the transformative power of perseverance. His triumph reminded us that barriers, no matter how entrenched, could be dismantled. Let his story inspire you to challenge injustice, support inclusivity, and celebrate the boundless potential of the human spirit. Malik Thompson's journey culminated in a triumph that transcended the confines of sport, igniting a global conversation about equality and justice. His record-breaking performance was not just a personal victory but a call to dismantle the systemic barriers that hinder progress. Athletes, fans, and advocates rallied behind his message, demanding accountability and reform in institutions that perpetuated bias. As Malik embraced his newfound role as an advocate, he inspired others to challenge injustices in their own lives. His story became a blueprint for resilience, urging individuals to confront prejudice with courage and conviction. Malik's advocacy extended beyond sports, influencing policy changes and fostering dialogue around inclusivity. Years later, Malik's legacy endured, not just in record books but in the lives he touched. His efforts led to a more equitable Paralympic system, ensuring future athletes would compete without fear of discrimination. The unsanctioned event that launched his historic moment evolved into an annual celebration of diversity and unity, bearing his name. Malik's journey reminds us that greatness is not defined by medals but by the courage to stand against injustice. Let his story inspire us to challenge inequality wherever it exists and to champion fairness in all aspects of life. The fight for a better future begins with each of us.